broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey everybody, welcome to the after show for Impastor, TvLand's new hilarious show. Tonight we are covering season 1, episode 1 called Genesis. How appropriate.
Yes.
I'm your host, Jennifer Golden, and you can find me on Twitter at Jennifer Golden, and with me is my amazing co-host, James Lott Jr.
Hello, Miss Jennifer.
Hello.
Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you for being here.
In the genesis of our after show.
Yes. I mean, that is just so clever, isn't it?
Yeah, it is actually very clever.
And it's very telling of as how the show is going to be.
Yes,
Equally as clever. Every single element of the show is so thought out and detailed and funny.
Yes.
As could be.
Yes. And so, folks, please tweet us. Of course, you can tweet me at Black Hope LA. You can tweet her at
Jennifer Golden.
And we can talk about the show and use the hashtag ABTVImpastor.
Yeah, follow along, tweet us, talk to us.
Yes. The show, I mean, I agree with you. So far, this first episode is phenomenal.
So funny. And now we've both seen it twice, actually.
Yes, we actually seen it.
And we chose to watch it a second time.
Oh, yeah, seriously.
Because it was that funny.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I watched another show called Younger, which
Yes.
was on TvLand, and they did a preview of it, and when they said, do you want to do the Impastor? I'm like, yes, I love the show already. How many shows can you watch twice?
Not that many. Comedies for me are my jam.
Yeah.
And I am friends with Michael Rosenbaum, who's on the show.
Yes,
and so is Lauren Leonelli, our other co-host, who couldn't be with us tonight.
Lauren.
Hi, Lauren. We miss you.
Yes, we do.
So I watched the show just in support of him and figured, you know what, I'll cover it because we know him. Why not? We'll just have him come in, whatever. It'll just be easy and it'll be great and everybody will love it. But truth of the matter is, I mean, I'm really an honest person. And I told him straight up, I was like, I watched because it's you, but this shit was funny. Oops, I said the word shit.
Oopsie.
If that happened on the show itself, they would have bleeped me out.
Which is hilarious.
Hilarious.
When they bleep it, it's like, because you know what they're saying. But
Right.
It's just, I love that they bleep
funnier.
it. It is funnier.
It's funnier that way because it's gratuitous if you just curse all the time.
Exactly.
And the fact that they bleep it out and it's a show about a pastor, it's an imposter. Everything, even the storylines tonight were just hysterical. Let's just dive right in.
Well, dive in.
All right.
Ready.
So we meet Buddy at the beginning of this episode.
Yes.
He is a down and out guy. He's got people chasing after him.
A little shady.
Super shady.
He's a little shady.
He's a shady dude with some financial troubles and some guys on his case.
Yes.
He's got a girlfriend who is over it.
Yes. And we found out her name is...
She's Leanne.
Leanne. Yes, Leanne. Okay.
So she's a bartender.
Yes.
And they've got that lifestyle where
they sure do,
he's dealing with a lot of bad dudes.
Right.
She's
bartendress.
Exactly.
Yeah, whatever, yes.
Bartendress. And so she's like, enough with you and these issues. I can't help you anymore.
She's done. She can't take it anymore.
No.
She's like, okay, yeah, you're probably hot and all that, but I just can't take all the drama.
So wait. Are you saying he's hot or does she think he's hot? Let's be honest.
Okay. I'm an honest person too, Jennifer, and I think he's kind of hot. I've always thought he was.
Oh, Michael.
I know, Michael. When I meet you, I'll be really nice and gentle.
Oh, boy.
I mean.
Oh, boy.
But anyway, back to the story, of
course.
The
story.
But no, it seems like she's done with his just shenanigans. It was like, okay, this is done. So we get to see kind of what he's doing that's kind of bad.
Yeah. And so he, I guess, is, ready to give up.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm throwing in the towel. That's it. The only thing left for me is to jump off this very famous suicide bridge.
I know. It's I'm laughing, but it's really funny, of course. Suicide, oh my God. No, but it's funny that he decides he's going to kill himself. That's just his only option.
Right.
That's it. And we see what happens.
Yeah. So he's standing there and someone so nice pulls up and says, no, don't do it. Listen, I was down on my luck too. And we all watched the episode. We know what happened.
Right.
He ends up going over.
I know. That was so bad. It was funny and bad. I'm like, this show, I could tell already the dark humor is going to come through, obviously.
Yeah.
Because it's he basically, I guess he died.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he fell into. I mean, I don't know unless he shows up later in the episode.
Well, we do find out from one of the cops that we
I
speak
know.
to later that there is a 98% chance that man died.
Those detectives were hilarious.
Hit every
Oh
part
my-
of this
yeah,
show.
the guys-
The characters were so funny on this.
Yes.
Okay, so
he falls over, and Buddy's like, "Oops," and sees the car with his stuff in it.
yeah.
Because he does reveal that he's going to a new city for a new job.
Right.
But at this point, we don't know what it is.
No, we have no idea.
As the audience.
We don't even know his name. We know
Nope,
nothing.
no.
So Buddy gets in the car and he gets a phone call from Dora. We find out is going to be
Yes.
his assistant.
Miss Sarah Rue.
Love her.
Yes,
She's
love
going to
her.
be coming on the show. We're going to get all these guys on
Yes,
the show, guys.
yes.
Just so you know.
Yes.
It's going to be action packed. We're going to have guests galore up in his ear. Is that how you, can I say that?
You can say it.
His house. Whatever you call this place, the studio, whatever.
Oh my God, I love
so
you.
we're gonna have everyone here.
Yes.
I love you.
Yes.
So Dora calls him, and we hear him say, "Where am I going? What's
Right.
that address again?" Because he's so smart.
Yes.
And he figures out a way to just like saunter into this guy's life.
Yes, he does. And it was funny. It's still, again, it's not said to him what the job is. That's kind of the funny part because they're setting up the punchline, which of
Right.
course is the major part of the series. But he does come to this small town called Ladner.
Right. Where's Ladner again?
I have no idea because he was on the St. Vincent Bridge. I was trying to think of my geography. I don't even know where
Right.
that
Like
is.
which city that is.
I couldn't even tell if it was like East Coast or Midwest or West Coast or North, South.
I feel like we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, 'cause
we'll
they're-
know next time.
Because their accents too weren't anything.
No, it wasn't like "Don't you know?" or
Right,
like
yeah,
any of that.
I can't even. I'm not going to try.
No,
but
that was my best.
That was yours. I'm not going to try. But yeah, there was anything really super distinctive. It was just like Anytown USA. I kind of called it when I wrote it down, like
Yeah.
Anytown USA. But it's called Ladner.
I feel like Marissa, our lovely engineer, might figure this out for us.
Okay, you figure it out for us.
So-
Or you could tweet us if anybody thinks you know where it is. Tweet one of
Totally.
us and tell us you think where it is.
Yeah.
So he gets there and he meets Dora.
Yeah, Dora, his assistant, and so she's super cute and
Yes,
like
she is. She's cute.
really excited he's there because their old pastor left and now
Yes.
this guy's here and they've heard about him and so he's like younger.
Yes,
and she
yes.
says he's more scruffy than she
I know,
imagined.
that's so funny. I know.
I mean, he shows up in a hoodie.
Yeah, I know. He's like, but still, for her, it was kind of weird. But for him, he just think he's just taking over this guy's life.
Right, and he's like, I get this house. What?
Well, I know the house was pretty nice.
Yeah.
I know for small town USA, I was like, that's a nice house, nicely decorated.
So Ladner is in Oregon.
Okay.
Oregon.
So
I
I-
would have never guessed that.
Interesting. So I wonder what the city was that he was in before. Maybe Seattle,
Maybe.
Portland. No,
Yeah,
that
where-
didn't look Portland.
No, so where was
dandy-ish.
a bridge at?
I believe the St. Vincent Bridge is in Connecticut.
So
Wait a
continuity.
second.
So continuity.
Let me look that
That's
up.
Well, we don't know how long he was driving.
Oh, that's true.
He could have been driving for a
5
lot
days.
of
5
time.
days, 4 days, 5 days. I've driven cross country. It's like 4 or 5 days.
We don't even. It could be that.
Okay, so Oregon. I would have never. That would just. Well, that makes sense for the no accents,
Yeah.
the non-accents, unaccent. I don't know.
The unaccented folk.
It's just-
So, all right. Well, so speaking of the folk, we start to
Yes.
meet. We meet Alden Schmidt.
Yes, who's the president,
Yes. Alexa Cumming.
the treasurer.
Yes, and Russell, whose last
The
name
second-
escapes me.
That's Carey, Russell Carey.
Russell
I
Carey.
was thinking Mariah. So I thought Russell Carey. That's how I
well,
remember it.
whatever you need
I
to
know,
connect the dots.
No one's thinking Mariah now, but I thought of her today. So right, okay. So Russell Carey, he's a secretary.
Yes.
And each of them is because first of all, Dora we find is his assistant.
Yes.
So that's his assistant. So then she takes him to the church, and these three characters, each of them are so good.
So good. And, obviously they have their impression of him based on what they heard about
I
him,
know.
which was we find out that he's a gay pastor.
Well, here's the funny thing: the way they say it, it's all like, "So we're sorry to hear about what happened with you in your
Right.
last congregation in Florida." And he's like, "Well, okay, like yeah, with you coming out." I'm like, that was
He's like,
so-
of what?
I know that's what I was.
Michael's comedic timing is
Oh.
unbelievable.
hands down,
Which is such a far cry. I mean, from like his
Smallville.
right.
another stuff that he's done.
Right. I mean, now he's got. I mean, he's pretty good at comedy. He's like done his own comedy
Yeah.
movies before, like written and directed and stuff. It was called the recent one was Back in the Day, and
Oh yeah, okay.
that was just a funny movie.
Yeah.
But he is so freaking
I
funny.
know he really is. His comic time, all the comic timing is really good. So each of the characters, just kind of briefly. So Alden is kind of like this buttoned-up conservative
Yes.
Lutheran.
And he actually says, you can do all the gay things you want to do.
Yes.
Like you can be it, but you just have to be inactive sexually.
That's right, asexual.
So, like, you can know you're it, but you can't actually do it.
And so when he finds out, he's like, no problem.
Right.
He's like, that'll be okay.
He will refrain from doing any homosexual activity.
But Russell was hilarious.
He's got to keep up this act, though, and continue to be gay, at least, or not interested in women is essentially what he can't be. Right. Because he's got to maintain, this whole
What I'm liking so
facade.
far, and I'm curious to see how they do carry this on, is that he's not going straight to stereotypes.
Right.
Of like the straight guy trying to act gay.
Right.
Like he's so far just playing it like himself, but he's just, the layer is that he's gay. I think it's really ingenious, actually.
And I love that we are finding out more about him and the town as he's finding out.
Yeah.
So it's like a big reveal, and we're reacting just the way he is, and we're along for this really crazy ride.
I totally agree. But it's funny. So he decides to go by the name he's supposed to be is Jonathan Barlow. That's But so he says, "Call me Buddy," which is, of course, his other name.
Yes, Buddy Dobbs is his actual name.
Right,
but
Dobbs.
People call people Buddy all the time.
They do. Yeah.
So that really works. He's like, that's just easier for everybody.
Right.
And mostly him, because that's his actual name.
I know. And I love it that, oh my God. So Alexa and Russell are kind of vying for his attention.
Yes.
And it's hilarious. The guy who plays, I don't know what his name is, Russell Carey, he is hilarious.
Is that Matthew Anderson?
Is it?
I think that's Matthew Anderson.
Okay. I've seen him before. I just don't know what his name is.
Well, he's coming on the show.
Okay, good, because he is
scheduled
hilarious.
For next Wednesday.
Oh, is he ready next Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll talk to him about that.
Yeah.
Because apparently, I guess he's gay on the show. I mean, on the show.
Right, yeah.
I mean, not him.
Right.
On the show. That
Yes.
he's apparently. So I think we're established that he's all like, that rule isn't hard and fast. You have to, and he's like so like in top. Then Alexa, of course, who's beautiful.
Gorge.
She's beautiful. It's like kind of looking at him too.
Yeah, they're both fighting for him, and it's amazing. And she's like, no, I think he plays for my team. And
I know.
Russell's like,
because I think she's picking up on it because there's some little flirty going on.
Yeah, it's gonna be so fun to watch.
Yes, it'll be really fun
him
to
maintain this fake person that he is that he has to be, and see what happens.
Yes, I mean it's gonna be. I'm curious to see how it all develops and when it does finally come out.
Right. Well, we've got a whole season of.
Yes, we do.
We've got 9 more episodes to go. So. Yes. And then obviously we'll find out if they're picked up for, I don't know, a full season or a second season.
Yeah.
But I sure hope they will. So they start to introduce other characters. Like we start to meet people from the town that are like, part of the congregation.
Yes.
One of the people is...
I'm laughing already.
Yeah, Marla Thomas.
Yes.
So her son has a pot issue. She finds him with pot, and not only does she find him with pot, she finds him with a warm cantaloupe, and he's having relations with the cantaloupe.
Yes.
Much the same as like an American Pie,
yes. First of all, that actress is so fun. I loved her in New Adventures of Old Christine. I loved her in Will and Grace. She's such a funny actress, and she's playing this kind of dowdy-looking mother who's really Christian and is really worried about her son. And the guy who plays her son is hilarious.
Jasper.
He's hilarious.
Hilarious. I love the part where Michael's character, Buddy, says, why fruit?
Yeah, why fruit?
And he's like, well, not mango. Mango's too small. Watermelon falls apart.
Yes.
So cantaloupe, obviously. And he's like, no, but really, like, why are you pounding produce?
Yes, I know. I love that. It was so like, I love that he went to an explanation and talked about like mangoes.
Right.
And, like, I mean,
he's put some thought into it. But then he's like, despite my movie star good looks.
Yes, I'm not getting a lot of ass, he says.
Right.
Oops. Yeah, he did say that. They didn't have to bleep that one because I guess you can say ass.
Yeah, apparently.
It's an animal.
It is a donkey. You are correct. But so Buddy, comes to obviously talk to him, and he's not really working from normal pastor behaviors.
I love that speech.
He does his own thing and flies off the handle and says, like, I will tell the big guy upstairs you're gonna go straight to hell and you're gonna burn for damnation.
I wish I could remember that whole speech. And if you didn't watch Impastor, and I go back and watch it again, I'm sure you watched it. But if you didn't, go back and watch it again. That little 1-minute speech he tells them to make him straighten him up was hilarious.
But I mean, it was a fair deal. I think he really made an offer that kid couldn't refuse. You have 61 days, be on your best behavior, and then you can go do all the pot smoking and produce pounding you want.
That's what he said. I know, it's so funny. But Jasper was like, oh my God, you went after him. He's like, you don't seem like a pastor that's gay or whatever. I love when I can't even say it on here because I love, he goes, well, I don't know what gay means, but I love blank. And I love that
C
line.
word.
The C word.
That actually, it's like a rooster.
Yes, it's a rooster.
If we want to go animals on this show.
Yes, and he says it, and it's just the way he says it is so. He looks at me, he's like, and it's just really funny. And Jeff's just like looking at him.
I do love though, like what you said. He was like, "Well, I don't know what you think a gay man's supposed to look like."
Right.
Like he's essentially calling out. I mean, this show has like a lot of parallels to what people actually think about religious people, about anybody that's different. And so he is saying, like, well, what do you think a gay person looks like?
Right.
How stereotypical.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with you. And so it's kind of, as I said, I'm really excited to see how he plays this character, because so far it seems like he's going to play it just himself, almost straight-laced.
I gotta say, he kind of plays. He seems very Michael-ish.
Michael-esque.
Yeah,
Michael-ish.
He's
Michael-like.
Yes.
Like a Rosenbaum-like.
Yes.
Exactly.
So he's funny. He's real funny. So then Alden, the president, stops by.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
So with a separate issue, he's. I mean, poor Buddy's got his day like cut out from him.
Oh yeah.
In his first,
yes, he does.
First, like even couple of days there.
Yes.
So Alden stops by to ask for help because his daughter is having marital issues with her husband. They're fighting over money.
Right. And it turns out we find out later that the husband is the cop, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yes, the husband is the cop. It comes up later. That's a little later on. But we found who he is. They're having financial issues. And he tells him can you give some scripture to my daughter? And he's like, scripture?
He's like, what's that?
Well,
And then he's like, well, from the Bible. He's like, well, I don't have a Bible. It's like, oh, there.
and there's you see how big that Bible was?
It's
It was
the
like,
paperweight sitting in front of you. That thing is your Bible.
It
It's
was
your
like
gym.
it was like the Yellow Pages, like back in the day. It was like, this is huge. He goes,
Right.
oh, right, and he picks it up as like this huge Bible. I wonder if that was intentional, like for a prop wise, because it was so big. It was like this big Bible.
It was like a pastor's Bible. That was like not the unabridged, or that is the unabridged version.
Right, exactly. It's an abridged version.
Right. That's not the Bible for dummies. So that's a real deal. So he's like, oh, hold on. I have the perfect scripture for you, or passage for you. And he points to like the first thing he sees.
Right.
And I love that Alden is just like, I don't get it. It's just a list of people that begat other people.
Oh, that was so funny. Which later plays into the thing where the cop's like, you knew it. You must be a psychic.
Exactly. Well, and Buddy's response was, I can't do all the work for you.
I know.
You have to figure it out. And I love that because that's so true.
Right.
Like you can give a sermon and you can say all these things and you could say it means this to me or it's supposed to mean this, or you find the meaning for yourself, because they are just anecdotes, right? That you're supposed to like get, the meaning from yourself and make it work for your life. Yeah. But anyway, so what is that called? Like a parable?
Ooh, I think it is. I haven't been in church in a long time, but that does
and I don't
like
go to church. I'm
Jewish.
That
sounds.
There you go.
She's a temple girl.
I'm just going to add the irony to the show here is that I am actually Jewish. So I'm learning about the Lutheran Church through the show.
That's hilarious, actually. You're perfect.
Thank you. You're perfect.
Oh my God, it's crazy.
Just hit my face on the microphone. I got too excited. So that's the passage he gives him, and then he's like, all right, I'm going to go off on my merry way. And then we see Alexa and Russell run into Buddy at the store.
Okay, so backtracking just a second to set this scene up.
Yes.
Basically, the mother comes in, talk about Jasper, and they found marijuana.
Right, yes.
And they found about the cantaloupes. This is all after all those scenes.
Yes.
Then he goes in, he shows them picking up a cantaloupe, of course.
Right.
Which was hilarious.
Well, he can't be active with anybody, so he's got produce to
And I couldn't stop
on.
laughing when he's like, when he looks at the weed and he's like, and he knows the name of the weed. He's like, this really looks like some grade A blank blank blank.
Blue Crush something.
Yeah, something. And she's like, how do you know that? My missionary work in Jamaica.
So
that was
smart.
That was so smart.
It's just so quick.
Oh my God. And then he inhales the weed after she leaves. I love that part.
Oh, because she's like, well, what am I supposed to do with this? And he's like, I will take this burden from you. Don't you worry.
Don't worry about it. I love it. Oh my God. And so then he can't pay for his stuff because they want to see an ID.
Right, and he's clearly not Jonathan Barlow. Which, by the way, at that moment in time, occurred to me, is nobody Googling what Jonathan Barlow looks like? Like, I know that they're religious folk, but like they've got computers.
They got computers.
Clearly.
That's true.
So like,
usually when you hire somebody, you would look them up.
Right. Especially a pastor. Like, they know about his past, obviously, with, like, being gay and whatever. Maybe there was a news story in Florida. So, like, wouldn't there be a photo associated?
Well, I'm trying to think. Did the guy, because we saw him briefly in the beginning, did he kind of look like him with a shaved head? No, I didn't think so either.
No.
Because remember, Mike used to have a shaved head in Smallville.
He did.
So I was trying to think, did he look, maybe you're right, he did look like him. They were different.
No, well, maybe we can save that for some of our interviews and we can ask them maybe some things we have questions about.
Yeah, definitely.
You guys should tweet us too and ask us your questions so we can ask them your questions.
Please do.
It'll be a whole group chat.
Yes, we're all in this together.
We are. I mean, I can't do this alone. Lord knows.
So they both kind of stake their claim, trying to ask him to dinner. It's so funny.
Russell's like, you have to come over and you have to meet all the people. And he's like, but I'm not asking you on a date.
Right.
Because why would he think that?
Clearly, he is kind
Right.
of. And he's like, but you have to meet some of the other town people. He's like, oh, other people will be there. But he's like, oh, okay. And then Alexa, she comes in there too. She's like, excuse me. She goes, I'm also part of the welcome committee. And Russell's like, isn't that Dora? I'm co-chair. I love that. It's just so funny.
Love.
Just
Everybody
so funny.
wants a piece of Buddy.
And they pan back in the camera, which was kind of intentional. They showed them each on each side of him. He's
Yes.
just like, okay, I would go now. And he just like walks out. And
He was lucky enough to get money and his groceries paid for because Alexa vied for him with the cashier.
Yes, she did.
And she said, no, that's our new pastor because the pastor in this town is like president.
Yes, and she was looking at him too, all just hungrily.
Yeah.
She was. But she's so pretty. I was staring at her. She's so pretty.
She is gorgeous.
I don't know. What is her name in real life?
Marcia Monroe. She was
Okay.
on episodes or is still on episodes.
Oh.
She's one of the executives on episodes. So she plays like a studio person.
Yeah. Oh, she's just beautiful. I love her.
So beautiful and funny.
Yeah, well, it's
They're
hilarious.
all hysterical.
They are. There really isn't. There's not a weak link in the bunch.
No. So after all that happens, Buddy goes back and he's home and he's heating up his cantaloupe and getting
Yes, I
ready
know.
for
That's
his
so funny.
activity. And Dora comes over and then all of a sudden Buddy sees in the corner of his eye the President Alden walking up with a cop, and Buddy goes
that's
to that
hilarious,
thought where
too.
he thinks, they're coming after me. I have to
Yes.
fess up and tell them who I am.
Mind you, they have voiceovers.
Yes.
His voiceover, occasionally he'll come on and say, okay, like I have two choices. So it's like a kind of through his eyes.
I love hearing his thoughts
Yeah.
because he's obviously hysterical. So
right.
he thinks, obviously, I tell him everything and confess, or I make a run for it. So he makes a run for it,
But doesn't.
but makes it very not far at all.
Oh my
and
God, that's hilarious.
is trying to jump over the fence.
And he can't do it.
He can't do it, falls down.
Yes.
And by the way, Michael
I'm sure.
Rosenbaum is in
I'm
great
sure.
physical activity.
Sure. So that was obviously, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, like, that was pretty good. He even almost got up and over.
Yeah.
So, hey.
But I kind of like the realism of that because, in other shows you think they get over and get away. It's like,
Right.
realistically, could we all climb a
Right. No.
wall? I couldn't.
No. I mean, I'm not Catwoman, so no. I can walk on 2 feet, and that's where I go. That's how I get places.
Totally.
So he gets caught, obviously,
Yeah.
and they're like, what are you doing,
Yes.
dude? And he's like, well, I saw a bird that was wounded, and I wanted to pray for it. Over it.
Which is funny because when he first met Dora, there were all those bird things in the house. and
Yeah.
Birds. She goes, you like birds, don't you? She's like, yeah.
So he thinks fast and
Yes.
has these answers, and he's this quick-witted guy.
Well, because he's a con man.
Yeah. He's
So
got
when you're a con
cons.
man, you gotta be fast.
Yeah.
You gotta be fast at that.
I'm not fast like that. I'm going to learn some things from this show. See, it's not just comedy. It's education.
Education and informative.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what we're bringing you here. So, yeah, he obviously wants to save the fake wounded bird. And then they all go inside, and he thinks, obviously,
Yeah.
he's got to confess. But instead,
Yeah.
contrary to what he thinks is about to happen, of course, more comedic timing,
Yes.
the cop turns out, like you said, to be
Yes.
Alden's son-in-law.
Yes.
Who then says, you're psychic.
Right. And then the mother comes back and comes in also. What was her name again? I forgot her name.
Marla.
Marla comes in and says, Jasper hugged me and said he was sorry.
Yeah. And she said, you're a miracle worker.
I know.
And I think she said that, like, oh, you're a blessing. And then that's when Dora says, yeah, isn't that how you always, that's funny because that's how you, Jonathan Barlow, always sign your emails.
Yes.
Like blessings or something. And then that's when Buddy puts it together. That
Yeah,
is the
'cause-
password to get the money from the bank account.
Yeah, he was thinking, I'll just get the money that he had and bail out.
Right.
That's his thought. And just get out. But then...
$12,400 later,
Yeah, I know.
and the packed car gets a call from Russell, who's like, you're all the rage.
Yeah, he decides to stay.
Yeah.
But before we get to the last scene of that, of course,
Yeah.
let's go back to the B story, was we meet Leanna's girlfriend.
Oh, I totally even forgot about her.
No, I got it. It's not
Literally, she left the building.
yeah.
Bye.
Because those detectives, you and I love those detectives
Yes,
so
I'm so
hilarious.
glad you brought this up.
Yeah, because the first scene of them was funny because you brought it up a little bit earlier,
Mm-hmm.
where there's one detective kind of doing the like, well, so what happened? They find the notes. And the second detective you really like because
He just said the most absurd things that are so inappropriate. Like, you don't say, like when she's sobbing over her potentially dead boyfriend, that she's like, well, isn't there a chance he's still alive? And that guy, the cop number 2, bonehead number 2, was like, well, 98% of people that jump off that bridge die, but it's a really popular bridge. Like people drive in from all over the place. They love to die from that bridge. It's the death bridge.
And if it didn't, his neck probably snapped. And it was just hilarious.
So the good news is that like you won't have to see him mangled because he'll just be eaten.
Yes, by the sharks.
Right. So there you go. And she's like, I don't know if that's good news.
No.
And then you see him drinking her soda.
Oh my God, when he come back later, eating a banana. And it's funny. So he's doing all that. And she's like, are you drinking my soda? And then the first detective's like hitting on her.
Yeah, he's like, well, if you ever want to talk about it or grab a drink.
And she's like, are you bleeping kidding me? You're hitting on me? Like
the bleeps are some of my favorite.
Me too. They are. They really are. They actually add to the show.
It totally does. It's like a sprinkle on top or a cherry on top.
Yes, sprinkle on cherry. So it's kind of funny. So basically we find out that they're investigating what's going on because they came to her house. The people came to her house and wrote on the wall, you can't hide. And took her phones and everything.
Took everything. Took his computer, took took her computer, his TV. And so they obviously think he's still alive. They don't know yet that he died and his demise. So, we do see him in this episode calling her to say, I'm alive.
Hey, that's a message, but obviously it's not.
No, but I wonder if that's what triggered.
I just had an epiphany just now. Thank you, Jennifer.
We're helping each other.
We are.
And we're helping everybody watching
that. I didn't even get into you just said that now. That's right. He called it the message. And at the very end, what happens?
The bad guys show up at his door, which, listen, I don't know how they found him because that's quite intelligent. And also we found out that he's either went from Connecticut all the way to Oregon. We have no idea actually where he came from. How they're tracking him, I don't know. No. So...
Because he's thinking it's going to be Miss Alexa who called a few seconds earlier to say, can I come over and discuss?
Right. And he's fixing his hair because he wants to look good for her. And then he's like, no, you're gay. You're gay.
And the doorbell rings and it's 2 guys. But you're right. I think because the phone went to them.
Well, but then how did they trace the call? Like, what are they? Some, like, spies? No, they're bad dudes. Like, they're not inspectors.
I was going to say GPS. Like, unless he... Well, no, I don't know. It's a good question.
I don't know. We'll find out because we saw a lot of previews up in her.
Yes, we did. So it's gonna be very interesting. It's gonna get a little dark too, I think.
It is gonna get a little dark,
which I kind of like.
Me too. So do we think we have anything else to cover from this episode?
I think we caught everything. I'm looking at my notes, and I think we really hit it. I think we really hit it. Do you have any predictions?
Oh my goodness! Well,
and now your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Thank you.
Well, we did see lots of previews for the season.
We did.
So I predict that Buddy is going to have a little encounter with Alexa. Mm-hmm. And I think he's going to become kind of an awesome pastor.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was my prediction is going to be, he's really going to fall into the role.
Yeah, and what I think is kind of great about that is that, like we said, this show kind of calls out stereotypes and how people feel about them and the negative connotation of certain things or people's impressions of what things might be, whether they're educated on it or not. So I think he might give this town a shakeup, and it might be what they needed to sort of reform them a little bit because they all are so conservative and they're so Bible-toting, and not that that's a bad thing, but
a little sheltered too.
Yeah, I think that they're gonna, he's gonna open the eyes up of this town, and they're gonna really transform, maybe even to the point where if he does come out later and reveals who he is, which I don't know that he can, because then where would the show go?
Right.
Then it would just be called Pastor. He's no longer an
Impastor.
Right.
Pastor,
so I think they might even embrace him. Some people probably will figure out who he is and might have to just keep, his cover.
Right.
They don't want to blow it.
I agree with actually everything you just said. I completely agree with.
Thanks for agreeing with me.
I do. I think it's very smart because I think it's what it is. He's going to, through his being unconventional, he'll open their minds, and in the meanwhile, they're going to feed him.
Yes.
At the same time, and it's going to be very just symbiotic. And I think the end of the show will be him being caught. And probably, I don't think they could. I mean, with the show go on for seasons, he can't be caught. But maybe catch up people knowing who he is and hiding the secret, and that could be some hijinks too. That'd be kind of funny. And maybe him and Alexa getting into a relationship secretly, and all kind of stuff. So everything you just said, I think I actually agree with in terms of the series itself.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, I don't have any, news and gossip thus far. But
Not yet, but the news is we have people on here. So So watch us because people are going to be on here.
Stay tuned. Next week we've got Matthew Anderson. We've got Michael Rosenbaum coming. Yes. We're going to get Sarah Rue up and her. And we'll be back. We'll be back. So where can everybody find you, James?
You can find me on Twitter at BlackHopeLA, and it's BLAKHOPELA. You can also find me on Facebook at James Lott Jr. And of course, I'm on several AfterBuzz TV shows. I'm on Big Brother tomorrow night, and I'm on Audition Days on Sunday.
Sweet. And you can find me, Jennifer Golden, at Jennifer Golden on all the different things. And I will be here just a little bit later for Lachey's Bar, a new show on Annie.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you, guys. See you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.